Hi everyone, Mrs. Jockel back for our third and final math lesson for the week. We are on lesson 11.3 in math, which starts on page 639. Today's lesson is going to be a continuation of what we've worked on this week so far with perimeter. Remember, perimeter is the distance around a shape, and we find the perimeter by adding up all of the sides. Except in today's lesson, we are going to be given the perimeter of a shape, the total distance around it, and some of the side lengths. It's going to be our job as math detectives to figure out the length of a missing side. And we'll be doing that with lots of addition and subtraction today. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is an algebra lesson because if you recall earlier in the year when we did algebra, algebra is all about finding an unknown. Something is missing in a problem and you are solving the unknown. And in algebra, they use letters to represent the unknown number that you are trying to find. And we'll see that here in our first problem about Chen. So let's unlock this problem together. Chen has 27 feet of fencing to put around his garden. He has already used the lengths of fencing shown. How much fencing does he have left for the last side? So let's pay attention to what we know in this problem. What we know is the total perimeter, which is the fact that he has 27 feet of fencing to put around his garden. So when we go all around his garden, which is a pentagon shape off to the right we see, he has 27 feet to go all around it. We need to see, based off of what he has used so far, which is what I'm tracing, how much he has left to cover side N. So it says find the unknown side length, write an equation for the perimeter. Think, if I knew the length N, I would add all the side lengths to find the perimeter. But remember, we don't know all of the sides in this problem. So we need to add the lengths of the sides that we do know. So we're going to add 5 plus 3 plus 7 plus 4 plus the unknown N, and it should all equal 27. But because we have a number missing, we need to figure out what that is. So we are going to add the side lengths that we do know right here. So let's see, I'm going to do 3 plus 7 because that makes a nice 10. And then I know 5 and 4 equals 9. So the total of those four numbers would be 19. And then, since addition and subtraction are inverse operations, that's just a fancy way of saying that they are opposite one another, we are going to write a related equation. And in order to find what N equals, we're going to take the total perimeter, 27, and subtract the part that we know so far has been used of the fencing, which is 19 feet. And that's going to give us the amount that is left over that hasn't been used yet. So I'm going to do a little subtraction problem here off to the side because we have to stack our numbers using place value because we are going to need to regroup in this problem. Remember, in our ones place here, if there's more on the floor, we got to go next door. So we need to do a little bit of regrouping here. My 7 becomes a 17. And so 17 minus 9 is equal to 8. And then the 1 minus 1 cancels out to 0. So what we see is 8 left over. So that means up here, N must equal 8 in order for Chen to use all 27 feet of fencing. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, how could we be sure that that answer is correct and that we didn't make any mistakes when we were, adding or subtracting? Well, hopefully you're saying, let's go back and add up all the sides. Since we do know all of the sides now, let's see what we get. So I'm going to do 7 plus 3, and that makes 10. And then let's do 4 plus 8, which is 12. So 10 and 12 make 22. And then adding 5 more, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So all 5 numbers around his garden added up to be 27, which was the perimeter or how much fencing he had to go around. So we can easily check our work to see if the unknown number we solved for is indeed correct. All right, the next one, it says try this. The perimeter is 24 meters. Find the unknown side length W. So we need to figure out what this side length over here equals. So let's fill in what we do know. We know one side is 6 meters, 2 meters across the top, 7 meters down the long side, 5 meters across the bottom, and then there's one side that is 1 meter. And all of that plus adding W, which we don't know yet, equals the total perimeter, which they told us was 24 meters. So let's add all these numbers together. Let's see here. Let's do 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. Plus 6 more is 16. And then the 5, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this equals 21. Okay. Plus the W, we still have to figure out what W is, and it still has to equal 24 for the total perimeter around the shape. And so we're going to take the total perimeter, which is 24, and we're going to subtract most of the perimeter that we know, which is 21. And so when we do this, they just have us rewriting this down below. 24 minus 21, what is the difference? There is a difference of 3. So W must equal 3 meters. And so if we put a 3 in here for W, and we can practice adding these all up, we should get 24. So let's do 3 plus 7, which is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16, plus 6 would be 22, and 2 more would be 24. So our perimeter adds up to be 24, which is what they told us it was in the first place. Not too bad. You just have to do a little more thinking and a few extra steps of adding all of the sides that you know, and then subtract the total perimeter, subtract that from the total perimeter, and then that'll give you the side length that is left. So let's continue on to the next page. Maybe. It's page 638, the next example. Find the unknown side lengths of a rectangle. So rectangles are a little different because we know from our Polygon chapter on rectangles that opposite sides are equal. So sometimes we'll have to keep that in mind, that if we know the length of one side, we know the length of its opposite side. And in this particular case, Lauren is making a rectangular blanket. It has a total perimeter of 28 feet. The width of the blanket is 5 feet. We need to figure out the length. Okay, so it gives us our hint that a rectangle has 2 pairs of opposite sides that are equal. So if we know the top width is 5 feet, then obviously the bottom width has to be 5 feet too. And so down below here, it has us predict the length and add to find the perimeter. And then if the perimeter is 28 feet, then that would be correct. This is like a little guess and check strategy. Typically, I would just go through how to find the exact answer, But just to follow along with the lesson, we'll do the guess and check. They're saying, hey, let's pretend like the missing side lengths are 7 feet. So then we would add 5 plus 7 plus 5 plus 7. And let's see what this equals. Well, I know 5 plus 5 is 10, 7 plus 7 is 14, and 10 plus 14 is 24. So the perimeter is 28 feet, not 24, so this does not check out. All right, then let's guess and say that the length is 8 feet. So we would have 5 plus 8 plus 5 plus 8 to get the total perimeter. 5 plus 5 is 10, 8 plus 8 is 16, 10 plus 16 is 26. Well, that is not equal to 28, so that does not check out. And let's go with 9 feet as the length. Therefore, 5 plus 9 plus 5 plus 9. And again, 5 plus 5 is 10. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 and 10 more equal 28, which is correct. So that tells us the length of Lauren's blanket would have to be 9 feet on each side. Okay. Now, there is another way I would have solved that problem, and let me just model that up here. It's a little quicker than the steps they had us take with the guess and check. So if we knew the top was 5 feet wide and the bottom was 5 feet wide, well, 5 plus 5 is 10. We know the total perimeter is 28, so I would subtract 10 from the 28, and that would give me 18. Now, 18 doesn't make sense to be the length on both sides. I have to remember that there are 2 sides to the blanket, so I would take the 18 and divide it in half, because the 18 feet needs to be split between the 2 lengths over here of my blanket. And 18 divided by 2 is equal to 9, which is what we came up with through the guess and check method. So that might be a little quicker than guessing what you think it is and testing it out. I would still suggest, if you solve it my quicker way, that you check your answer, finding the perimeter now that we have all 4 sides. 9 plus 9 is 18, 5 plus 5 is 10, and 18 plus 10 does in fact equal 28. So just another strategy, but whatever works for you is perfectly fine with me. All right, the bottom one, try this. Find the unknown side lengths of a square. So the square here has a perimeter of 20 inches. And it says, what is the length of each side? Well, guys, look at the square. They don't give us any measurements. They're just all S's. But wait, think. A square has 4 sides that are equal in length. So what we simply can do is use multiplication, or I'm going to show you division too, for how to find the perimeter. We know that there are 4 sides in a square, so 4 times S, whatever S equals, has to be 20. And so we think, well, 4 times what equals 20? Or using division, take the 20, which is the total perimeter they told us, and divide it by the 4 sides of a square and see what that equals. We know that multiplication and division are inverse operations, so we could use either way of thinking about this to solve the problem. But hopefully you're thinking right now 5 would be the answer for each side length. And if we put 5 in on each side, again, because this is a square, all equal sides, and even some of my 5s look like S's, we get 5, 10, 15, 20. So 20 is our perimeter, which is what they told us. And so when we have a square and we know the total perimeter, we can figure out what all 4 sides equal by either using multiplication or division. Pretty cool. All right, over to the next page. Here's where we get to our share and show problems. So they give us another type of quadrilateral here, but this one's a little funky because it has 4 different side lengths. There's no parallel sides, and it's not even a trapezoid because it doesn't have any parallel sides. So just an odd shaped quadrilateral. They tell us that the total perimeter is 25 centimeters, and we need to figure out what side n equals. So let's fill in what we do know. 9 plus 6 plus 3 plus the n is going to equal 25, but we don't know n yet. So 9 plus 6 is 15, plus the 3 more is 18. And then we're going to take the total perimeter, which we know is 25, and subtract 18 from that. That way we can see what amount is left over. And when we do, 25 minus 18, and you can do that as a side problem. If you need to see the regrouping, 25 minus 18, what is this going to equal? Well, 5 minus 8 we can't do, so we do need to regroup. This becomes 15, so 15 minus 8 is equal to 7. So the missing side length here is going to be 7. And we can test that out. 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 9 is 19, and then 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we get a total of 25. All right, number 2, here is a rectangle. We see 2 sides are 7 meters, and we have to solve for the top and bottom, sides J. The total perimeter is 34, so we need to figure out what J must be. So 7 plus 7 I know is 14, and if the total perimeter is 34, move this down the side, we're going to do 34 minus the 14, because we already know those 2 sides add to be 14. What do we get? 4 minus 4 is 0, 3 minus 1 is 2. We get 20, but wait, that does not mean J is 20, because would that make sense, guys, if we said J equals 20? Look, that would be the top and bottom 20, and 20 plus 20 is 40. That is already more than 34. We can't forget, once we did that first step, now we need to divide by 2, because there are 2 sides that are labeled J, and 20 divided by 2 equals 10. So we could say that J equals 10, and if we plug that in, 10 plus 10 is 20, 7 plus 7 is 14, and 20 plus 14 is 34. On number 3, we have a total perimeter of 12, and we have a square because all 4 sides are labeled R. And so we're going to do 12 and divide it by 4, and 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. So each side of the square would be 3 feet. 3, 6, 9, 12. All right, on your own, as always, you can pause the video and give it a try. See how you're doing, if you're understanding the lesson so far. On number 4, the perimeter is 32 centimeters, and we need to find the length of side K. So let's add together what we know so far. I know 10 plus 6 is 16. And it's okay to show a little bit of work off to the sides. Don't rely on your precious brains to do it all in your head. It's a lot of work. 3 plus 8 is 11. And now I can see a lot better. Adding 16 plus 11 together is going to equal 27. And now I need to do a little subtraction and take the total perimeter and minus what we've calculated so far. And this is where it's important to show your work because we have to do a lot of regrouping. It's too hard to try to do all this in your brain and keep track of everything. 12 minus 7 equals 5, and the 2's cancel out. So I calculated k to equal 5, but I just don't want to rely on my super awesome math skills. I want to test this out. So we're going to go back and add up all the sides and make sure that it checks out to be 32 centimeters. So let's see, what do I want to start with? Let's do, I don't know, let's do 10 plus 5 is 15, plus 3 more is 18. Let me just write that down. And then 8 plus 6 is 14. And 18 plus 14, 8 plus 4 is 12. Regroup, 1, 2, 3, 32. All right, so now I can feel satisfied that I got the right answer with K because when I checked the perimeter, my math added up. And the chances of me making 3 mistakes are very slim. So I'm satisfied that everything checked out there. All right, number 5, think smarter. I don't think you have to think too smart, but our perimeter is 42 feet for this shape here. And all of the sides are labeled G, which means they're all the same. And if we have a total perimeter of 42 feet, we need to divide that by all of the sides. So how many sides does this shape have? It has 6 sides. So what kind of shape is this? Think of the X in 6. Hexagon, hexagon, don't forget that. And so now we just need to rely on our super duper math skills. If you've been practicing, this should be easy peasy. If it's a little difficult, brush up on your math facts. You can even think multiplication. 6 times what is 42? Well, I'm getting the total of 7 here, but don't just rely on me because I'm a teacher. I make mistakes too. So if we put 7 here, let's try it out. I know 7 plus 7 is 14. So that would be 7 plus 7. And then if I do these 2 7s, that's another 14. Oh, my hand is getting hurting here at this mouse. 7 plus 7 is another 14. And let's add these up. We should get 42. 4, 8, 12. Put my 2, regroup. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 42. How about you? All right, so G equals 7. Good with that. Okay, number 6, mathematical practice, use a diagram. Eleni wants to put up a fence around her square garden. Those are key words that we're talking about, perimeter. The garden has a perimeter of 28 meters. How long will each side of the fence be? Okay, easy peasy. We've done this problem before already. So if she has a square garden, that means all 4 sides are going to be the same. And if a square has 4 sides, and the total of those 4 sides adds up to be 28, we have to take 28 and divide it by the 4 sides. So 28, and I have to use like the fraction division bar just because that's the easiest symbol to use on a keyboard, but you can use the basic fact symbol with like the subtraction line and the 2 dots. So 28 divided by 4, well, what does that equal? 7. And our label is going to be meters because it said the perimeter is 28 meters. Okay, because all 4 sides of a square are equal. Okay, so we could use that as our explanation and our answer. Alrighty, almost through here, about halfway in our lesson. Over to the next page, we have another unlock the problem. Latesha wants to make a border with ribbon around a figure she made and sketched at the right. She will use 44 centimeters of ribbon for the border. What is the unknown side length? So what do you need to find? Well, we need to find the length of side H. Okay, that's the unknown side that we're trying to solve for. How will you use what you know about perimeter to help you solve the problem? Well, I know perimeter is the distance around the shape, so I'm going to add all of the lengths that I know. Okay, I know perimeter is the distance around a shape, so I will add all of the lengths that I know. Not quite done yet. Then I'll subtract that total from the total perimeter. All right, give you a moment to write that down. I'm going to adjust my font a little bit just to make it fit better on the page. I'm going to read the answer from the answer book just because they might have worded things a little bit differently than I did. But they said, I know the sum of the lengths of all of the sides is the perimeter. That's kind of what I said. I know the perimeter is the distance around. They said, so I can add the sides I know and then write a related equation. Okay, so pretty similar to what I said. I know perimeter is the distance around a shape, so I will add all of the lengths that I know. Then I'll subtract that total from the total perimeter. And what's left is going to be the missing side. So we need to write an equation in part C for how we're going to go about solving this problem. Well, we're going to add all the lengths that we know. So 13 plus 3 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5 plus H, even though we don't know H, and that together has to equal 44 centimeters. Okay, and now we need to actually solve. So let's write this out. 13 plus 3 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5, and we're going to see what we get. All right, let's see. I'm going to do 3 plus 3 is 6. Let's do 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 plus 8, I know would be 19. If I can squeeze it there. And 19 plus 6 is going to equal 25. Now, if adding all of these numbers up at one time is too much, certainly break it down into smaller problems, because this is going to be where your mistakes happen, trying to add all these numbers up. And then I've got 2 plus 1, which equals 3. So if what I know so far equals 35, I'm going to take the total perimeter, which we know is 44, and subtract what we have so far, the 35, and the difference should be side H. So we got to do a little regrouping. 4 becomes a 3, and then this is now a 14. 14 minus 5 is 9, and the 3's cancel out, so side H should be 9 centimeters. Should we just move on and hope that we got it right? No. We're going to add the sides up here real quick just to be sure. All right, so let's just go in order, I guess, around. 13 plus 3 is 16. 16 plus 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 plus 6 would make 30. 30 plus 5 is 35. and then adding 9 more, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. All right, so that checks out. We are good to roll on to the next problem. Number 8, think smarter. It says a rectangle has a perimeter of 34 inches. The left side is 6 inches long. What is the length of the top side? All right, so we need a rectangle, and it says the left side is 6, and we need to know what the top is. So if this side is 6, we know the opposite side is 6, and we got the total is 34. So 6 plus 6 is 12. And we're going to subtract that from the total perimeter of 34 to see the total for the top and the bottom. So 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Now remember, 22 is not the answer here. We have to take 22 and divide it twice because there's a top and a bottom that this number accounts for. So what is half of 22? This is a bigger number to divide in half. Think what two numbers add up to be 22? 11 plus 11. So the top would be 11, which actually kind of means my rectangle doesn't work because 6 is the longer side, but it's the smaller number. So my rectangle would need to be longer like that. Either way, we see that we get an answer of 11 inches. And that would be the length across the top, but also the length across the bottom too. All right, moving on to number 9, another Think Smarter problem. Michael has 40 feet of fencing to make a rectangular dog run for his dog Buddy. One side of the run will be 5 feet long. And we need to choose yes or no to show what the length of another side could be. So let's just draw another rectangle. This could represent the run he's making for his dog Buddy. And we know that one side will be 5 feet long. So let's just make that 5 feet. But then keep in mind, we know that another side is going to be 5 feet because opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. And so 5 plus 5 is 10, right? And if the total is 40 for the perimeter around the fencing, if we know that it is 40, we could subtract 40 minus 10, and that equals 30. But then remember, we need to divide that to the top and the bottom. And so half of 30 would equal what? Ooh, handwriting is so messy on here. 15, right? 15 plus 15 equals 30. And then this would be 35, 40 when we add the two side lengths in. So could another side of his fence be 20 feet? No way. Could it be 15 feet? Absolutely. We just figured that out. Could it be 10 feet? No, that's trying to trick us because 5 plus 5 is 10. And could it be 8 feet? No, only one answer. It could only be 15 feet because opposite sides of rectangles are the same. All right, friends, we are on the home stretch here, I like to call it, the practice and homework, just running through, making sure we understood what we were learning and talking about today. Lots of math practice with our facts, that's for sure. First one is done for us, so we'll skip right to number 2. Wow, the total perimeter of this hexagon is 92 inches, obviously not drawn to scale, but we need to figure out what side T equals. So let's add together what we know so far. I know 12 plus 12 is 24, so I'm going to start with those doubles. And then 23 plus 23, well, 20 plus 20 is 40, 3 plus 3 is 6, so that would equal 46, and then I'm going to add the other 7. Hopefully you can line your numbers up a little neater than I am. Now when we add this together, I'm going to do 6 plus 4 because that makes 10, plus 7 is 17, regroup. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So what we know of this hexagon is it has a length around of 77 inches, but it would be an open shape if we didn't close in that last side. So we're going to do 92, the total perimeter, minus 77, which is what we've got so far, and see what we're left with. Change colors. All right, so we got to regroup. 9 becomes an 8. Now our 2 is a 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. And 8 minus 7 is 1. So side T must be 15. Now, normally I would say, okay, let's go back and check by adding up all of our sides. But just to keep this video on the shorter end, I'm not going to have us do that. I checked in the answer key. 15 is right. Okay. Number 3, problem solving. Stephen has a rectangular rug with a perimeter of 16 feet. The width of the rug is 5 feet. What is the length? All right, so we know what a rectangle looks like and what that means. If we know the width is 5 at the top, the width is 5 at the bottom, 5 plus 5 is 10. If the total is 16, what's the difference? 6, and then we have to divide that in half because there's still 2 sides that are unknown. And so 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. So if I put 3 on each side, does it add up to be 16 all around? 5 plus 5 is 10, 3 plus 3 is 6. Yes, so the length is 3 feet. Perfect. Okay, number 4. Kirsten has a square tile. The perimeter of the tile is 32. What is the length of each side? So drawing my best square, all 4 sides of a square are equal. If there are 32 inches total around, we're going to do division. 32 divided by 4 because there are 4 sides in a triangle, and that equals a total of 8. So 8 inches would be the length of each side. Number 5, we've done a lot of explaining how to find the unknown side length of a rectangle. We just did that in number 3, so we're not going to write about it. Let's skip past that. On to the back. Lesson check number 1. Jesse is putting ribbon around a square frame. He uses 24 inches of ribbon. How long is each side? Again, it's a square, so we're going to take the total perimeter of 24, divide it by 4 equal sides of a square. 24 divided by 4 equals 6. Don't forget your label of inches because we need to know 6 what? Number 2, Davia draws a shape with 5 sides, so a pentagon. 2 sides are each 5 inches long. So I'm going to write this out. 2 other sides are each 4 inches long. What is the length of the 5th side if the perimeter of the shape is 27? So let's add together 4 of the sides that we know. 5 plus 5 is 10. 4 plus 4 is 8. So 10 plus 8 is 18. And then 27 minus 18 should give us the length of that 5th side of the pentagon. So let's regroup because 8 is more than 7. Regroup. 17 minus 8 is equal to 9. So 9 inches is the missing length of the pentagon. We didn't even have a picture here to look at, but we know that if a shape has 5 sides and we knew 4, we added those up and subtracted from the total perimeter. All right, spiral review. Let's see what we recall here. What multiplication expression represents 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7? Well, we could say 7 times 4, which equals 28. Or we can flip the factors around because of the commutative property and say 4 times 7, which is also equal to 28. Okay, number 4, Bob bought 3 packs of model cars. He gave 4 cars to Anne, and now Bob has 11 cars left. How many model cars were in each pack that he bought? So I like drawing a little picture for this. He has 3 packs. He gave away 4 of them, and now he has 11. Okay, he gave away 4, and now he has 11 left. But let's add those 4 back. We're going to take them back and see how many he had to begin with. So 11 plus 4 is 15. And then we're going to take the 15 and divide them to each of the 3 packs that they came in. And so 15 divided by 3 equals 5. So each pack had 5 cars in it. Number 5, Randy read a book in the afternoon. He looked at his watch when he started and finished reading. How long did he read? Well, first we need to figure out what time did he start reading. I see the hour hand is the short one, pointing close to the 4, in between the 4 and the 5. So we are in the 4 o'clock hour. And the long minute hand is right on the 2, so 5, 10. So that would be 10 minutes after 4. And then the ending time, ooh, look, we're in the danger zone. We're on the 11 with our minutes. So the hour hand, it looks to be on the 5, but it's not quite there yet. It's between the 4 and the 5. So we're still in the 4 o'clock hour. And when our minute hand is on the 11, remember we count by 5s all the way around. And it would be 55. And so from 4:10 to 4:55, how much time has gone by? I'm going to count around until I get to my ending point here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So he was reading for 45 minutes. All right. And the last problem, what fraction and whole number does the model represent? So what fraction do we see here? Well, the circle is split into fourths, and all 4 are shaded in. So we would say 4/4, or that is equal to what whole number? There is 1 whole circle shaded in. All right. Boys and girls, thank you for hanging out with me. I know these math videos can get a little lengthy. I'm trying to keep them very short, but unfortunately, there's just a lot of pages and a lot of content to cover. So if ever you feel like you need to split the lesson into 2 days or into 2 parts, that is perfectly fine. You can always go back, rewind, pause me, watch it again, whatever you need to do to better understand what it is I am blabbering on about. If you have any questions or you need some additional help, please reach out to me. If this is too easy and you want some more challenging, harder work, I can certainly help you out with that too. Anyways, thanks for hanging out this week in math. Tune in next week when we start to talk about area. Perimeter and area are best friends. So we'll find out what area is all about. Don't forget to practice your math facts. And of course, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.